What's up guys, Anfield here. Welcome back to a new video. Before we get into today's video, I first want to thank everyone for your amazing support. The channel recently reached 20,000 subscribers, which is really crazy, and I can't really thank you guys enough. I haven't thought about how I can celebrate this sort of thing with you guys. Maybe we'll do a Q&A or something. I honestly don't know. I'll try to come up with something. If you have any ideas, feel free to leave them below. But today's video, we're going to talk about the new 9.19 ranked battles. So Wargaming recently released patch 9.19 onto the test server, which is crazy quick considering some servers haven't even had 9.18 for a full week yet, and we already have a new patch being tested on the test server. It does bring the ranked battles, which Wargaming must have a lot of confidence in because I never saw it on the sandbox, and if they didn't test it on the sandbox, they must be pretty confident in its success. Or perhaps maybe they don't believe it needs that kind of level of testing. I'm not really sure, but regardless, we do have a brand new game mode coming. But that's not the first time we've said that, because we have the new frontline mode being tested on the sandbox as well. Now, what's interesting about this is that that's two brand new game modes. Now, we can assume that the frontline mode probably won't come in 9.19 at all. It'll probably come much later, maybe one or two patches down the line. But regardless, we can assume it probably is coming, right? Now, everyone seems to have forgotten about it, including me. I was supposed to even make another video on frontline, and I just completely forgot about it. I mean, there was a lot of hype around it initially, but then it sort of died down, and I don't really know how successful the mode would be. Now, if it's competing already, because you have pub matches and now ranked battles, and then a frontline mode, other than being a fun mode that's only released for a little while, I struggle to see where the frontline mode sort of fits in, so to speak, because especially on the smaller servers, I mean, the smaller servers may already struggle with a ranked battle as well as the pub matches, but with a frontline mode as well, you know, especially 30 on 30, seems kind of crazy to me. So the other thing is, though, I can't really see whether they would actually ditch that mode or make it only a fun mode that is temporary, because they partnered with a whole nother studio to make that mode. Now, obviously, it's two separate teams that will have made the ranked battles and the frontline mode, but that's still a lot of resources that Wargaming invested into this mode to then not have it be a sort of more permanent thing. So I'm kind of curious to see what they actually intend to do there. It's to my understanding, though, that the ranked battles would be limited. I don't actually think you can permanently play them. I think they're going to work in seasons, and there's going to be sort of downtime. And I think also you can't permanently play the ranked battles throughout the day during a season because of potential rigging, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure though, so don't quote me on that, but I am curious to see how they're going to fit all these modes in, especially with the lower population servers. So population issues caused by the frontline gaming mode aside, I would also say that ranked battles could probably benefit from being 7 players and not 15. This may allow players to actually be able to better coordinate as well as impact their battles, because with 15 that's a lot of players and it's very difficult to sometimes impact, and the game mode is very heavily favored towards winning your games, which isn't always under your control. Now, it's true that you do get something if you are top 3, but you know, you could have a very good battle and there could be 3 other players that have a slightly better battle than you, and you absolutely get nothing from the game. In fact, you only ever lose. So that could be a bit of a problem. While I believe that the speed at which you rank up on the test server has been increased for testing purposes, the way that you rank up is basically by being top 12 on a winning team in terms of experience, or being top 3 on a losing team. If you succeed in finishing in one of these positions, you get what's called a chevron. Now on the test server, 3 chevrons means that you rank up. If you are outside of one of these positions, you lose a chevron. Now, some rank positions you gain permanently and can't lose, similar to how a Mark of Excellence would work. However, you can lose some of them. Now, compared to other games that have ranking style systems, Wargaming's is incredibly basic. You either gain a chevron or you lose a chevron. There is no middle ground, which is kind of a problem, because if you do really well on a winning team, you're not really benefited for that. If you do a really hard carry, you don't get a benefit for that. You get the same as the guy in 12th place that did 1,000 damage, which happened to me a lot while I was chatting to the stream. I was doing almost no work in some games, and the team just won, and I gained a chevron for doing nothing. So this is something I have a little bit of a problem with. I think they could make a much more advanced system that would better reward your performance in the battle rather than just whether you were on the winning team or not. Kind of a problem. It kind of happened on the losing team as well. There were some games where I had pretty good games, and there were 3 other guys that had really good games as well, and the guy above me got 1 more XP than me, but I lost the chevron. So yeah, it's a bit of a problem, because I feel like it punishes those that do really well and kind of rewards those that sort of do mediocrely or poorly, but there's 3 other guys on a 15-man team that happen to do worse than you, yeah, you still get to rank up, which I don't really agree with. I think the system could be far more complex than it currently is. You already have the base rating system in the game already as the personal rating. You just take that and refine it to make it a little bit more effective, sort of tweak it for how you need it to be ranked battles, and allow people to be based on that. Every 1,000 points they reach a brand new rank, but it could be a much better system doing that, so that maybe you gain, I don't know, 60 points in this battle, but you lose 38 in this other battle. But, you know, it rewards your performance much more than were you on the winning team and you did an okay job. This is not a system that I particularly think is rewarding to those that do really well in a battle and may happen to carry 11 other dead weights into getting a free chevron. But don't get the wrong idea as if I'm just like smack talking the whole system. I actually really like the concept of the ranked battles, and I think Wargaming have done a good job as a first step. I would just obviously like to see it improved, and this is the test server. This is where we give our feedback to this sort of thing. So yeah, one thing is I would just really like to see a much more complex ranking system that is much more interesting than just you win or lose a chevron, you know, like it's just very, very basic. So aside from the bragging rights from obtaining a certain rank, which thank God they do not show up in public matches, the last thing we need is more reasons to be focused when we already have XVM. Ranked battles allow you to obtain a brand new currency, the bond, which is then used to purchase certain boosters, either to crew or to equipment, and you can also purchase permanent improved equipment. The cost of purchasing an actual improved rammer would put you at about 5,000 bonds, whereas just purchasing a standard booster for a rammer would cost only about 12 bonds per battle, similar to how you would auto resupply a consumable or a shell. Bonds themselves cannot be obtained rapidly, as you only get them as a reward at the end of a ranked battle season, depending on where you finish. I'm not exactly sure about how much you will get, but it is clear that you will not be able to get them throughout the season, just at the end of the season as sort of like a lump sum. This means bonds will be an incredibly limited resource, considering even if you are doing extremely well, 12 bonds per battle will add up for the boosters, so you can actually use them in pub battles, but you would soon run out if you were constantly using 12 bonds per battle, as you might imagine. But the combination of the improved equipment as well as the boosters to the new equipment can make quite a significant difference. I was able to get my Object 907 reload down below 5 seconds, and that was just with the improved rammer and the booster to the rammer. That doesn't even include the other 3 slots, which would of course have had one of them be improved ventilation, so that would have boosted the reload even further. Now this is quite a significant boost to a lot of tanks, and actually the overall reload tanks that have, you know, quite long reloads, those tanks are going to get even bigger boosts because obviously the percentile will mean more when you're taking off a larger chunk of time. I'm generally in favor of any new way to boost the uniqueness of your tank in terms of how it's set up, because obviously everyone uses generally the same crew skills and equipment slots, so any chance to sort of make it even more unique is I'm totally in favor of that. However, I do worry a little bit about the backlash you might get from this. I mean, I still remember the Rubicon patch where everybody freaked out about how pay to win the game was going to be because of this. Now, I actually thought the Rubicon stuff was fine in terms of, you know, new ways to boost your crew. The only problems I had with it is obviously the economy wasn't very good. You know, it did mean that paying gold would give you a big boost, and it was very expensive with credits to get the temporary ones, and also you had to choose specific inscriptions and emblems for certain boosters. You couldn't just choose whatever you wanted. But aside from that, I actually think the idea was a very good one. The problem is when this is only going to be obtained through this new game mode through bonds, right? So there's going to be some people that say, oh, I don't want to play ranked battles. I don't know why you wouldn't, but whatever. There are going to be some people that don't want to. The other thing is too, is these can be used in random battles, which usually I would be fine with, but the problem is this is going to cause a big backlash, I think, from certain people, because they will be seen as quite a big improvement. I mean, let's be honest, 15% from the rammer is a big improvement, although I think more realistically, you're probably looking at more commonly 12.5%, because you're going to run out of bonds so fast if you constantly use the booster on it as well. However, it is a bit of a cause for concern. I mean, the other thing is like most people don't even put, you know, vents on their tanks. They don't put rations on their tanks, which are already available ways to boost your tank. So I don't know. I mean, it seems a bit silly to complain about 2.5% increase, I suppose, in that sense. But I also understand why people would get upset over that. So I think these bonds need to to be perhaps not only just achievable at the end of a season, but also earned through other ways. Now, the way that you're supposed to get the bonds, I think, is you get a lump sum, but also I think you get the boxes at the end of the season that you open up and they give you random amounts of things. I think maybe these boxes could be given away more frequently through random battles as well, through special events and missions, and that way you could get bonds other ways and people would feel less left out because they're not playing the ranked battles or they're not doing as well in the ranked battles. But I certainly think the better you are, the faster you should be able to achieve these improved equipment slots, but I still think it should be something that people can work towards, and I think that could be a benefit to everybody because then there's more of a drive to play both ranked and the random battles. Perhaps the ranked battles are a much quicker way and a more efficient way, especially if you're good at obtaining these bonds, but you can also obtain them at a much slower rate with the random battles through like missions and things like that. And I think that would be a much fairer system for everyone, so everyone has a chance to obtain these. The other thing is that if I think you have to kind of make a cutoff in terms of what these improved equipment slots can go on, because if you allow these improved equipment slots on the lower tier tanks, I mean, people already seal club at like tier 4 and stuff because they have no lives, and this is going to be an even worse problem if you improve the equipment that you can put on these tanks even more. Now, personally, these will all go on my tier 10s first, but not everyone is like that. They want to put them on the lower tiers, and that's going to allow a lot more seal clubbing than we're usually used to, so that could be a bit of a problem as well. But if you do limit it to, I don't know, let's just say extreme, tier 10 only can have improved equipment, then that's, in the matchmaker, tier 10s are going to be so much more dominant when they are in those matches than they already are, so that could be a bit of a problem as well. But again, it really depends, because we're only talking about small margins here when you're only talking about the 2.5%. Now, yes, if you have the booster as well, but that's going to be quite expensive to run consistently, so perhaps not as big of an issue. So that's really kind of what I have to say on this, but I'm really curious what you guys think on this. You know, how do you think this should be balanced? Do you think these should be allowed to be used in pub battles at all? Do you think they should be only limited to ranked battles? You know, let me know what you think, and I'll be really curious to read what you guys have to say on that actually. So that's pretty much it for my initial thoughts and feedback on the ranked battles, guys. I hope for a lot of updates to this, and I would like to see it refined, but I think it's a really good idea and a step in the right direction. Let me know what you thought. Have you played the ranked battles and what you think in general, especially when it comes to how the new bond system works and the improved equipment. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.